about one company or one entity or the government on its own or individuals on their own. It's about partnership and working together. So our chief guest, I will conclude by saying the vision is clear. The agenda and the mission that we have set for ourselves is ambitious, but with the support of the government of Kenya, with the support of all the partners that we work with, we believe that we are set for the next phase of this journey as we make more impact in the society. And it all comes back to our purpose as Absa Group. You know, we have a purpose that says empowering Africa's tomorrow together, one story at a time. And every one of those words is important. It's about empowerment, it's about growth, it's about our continent, our country, which is the future of the world when you look at the Africa dynamics and the demographics that are developing. It's also about tomorrow. Tomorrow speaks to hope, it speaks to inspiration. And we talk about doing it together, all of us together, not one organization. And we say that within that story, you know, there are many statistics we give. We say 50,000 organizations trained, etc. Each one is a unique story, like the one Chebet just gave us. And so we focus on the stories as well. So thank you very much. I will now stop there and take this opportunity to welcome the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Environment, Mr. Eden Duale, who has been very, very supportive of our cause. Karibu sana, Waziri. Welcome.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary and CS for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, and my boss, the chairman and board members of Absa Kenya, led by my very good friend Charles Muchane, Chief Executive and Managing Director, Absa Kenya, Abdi Mohammed, distinguished guests, esteemed stakeholders, members of the Fourth Estate, our Chief Forest Conservator, Professor Joloye, all of you, welcome to Karura Forest, our home. So you are our very important guests this morning. And we host between 7 to 10 million Kenyans every week, but every weekend. In a month, we host about between 70 to 80,000 Kenyans come to Karura Forest. So it's a great pleasure for me to join you on this very important, momentous occasion as we launch the Absa Kenya Foundation. And I'm particularly delighted that we chose Karura Forest as the venue of this event. Karura Forest is truly the jewel in our country's conservation efforts, embodying the principles of environmental protection that we shall all strive to uphold. But let me take this early opportunity to thank the entire leadership of Absa Kenya for their recent invitation during their launch of the 2023 Sustainable Report. Although I could not attend due to other official duties, I think I was ably represented by Dr. Ngeno, who is our PS, Environment and Climate Change. And I want to commend Absa Kenya for its very strong commitment to integrating sustainability into your business operation and working towards a sustainable future for our planet, for our communities, and for future generations. With today's launch of Absa Kenya Foundation, You now have even a more bigger, greater platform to collaborate with other stakeholders in advancing a very impactful, a deliberate effort to be a force for good. And I understand that the foundation has identified entrepreneurship, education, natural resource management, and health as its key focus areas. These are very crucial pillars that align with our shared vision of improving the quality of life for our communities across our country. As we gather here today, we are reminded that sustainability is no longer a choice, but a necessity. Natural resource management, whether in the context of forest, water bodies, land use, our marine diversity, requires our collective multi-stakeholder approach if we are to secure a healthy planet for future generations. The Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry commends the private sector in our country for its proactive commitment to climate action. Together, through various policies and initiatives, we are working towards fostering a green economy, enhancing climate resilience, and promoting sustainable land management practices. In the context of our national agenda as a government and people, sustainability is imperative. The Kenya government, through the initiative such as the 15 billion tree growing program, and Abdi, I think you need to increase from 10 million to about 50 million. Because we need to plant 1.5 billion every year in the next 10 years. As of today, we are at 481 million. So before December, I have a work to do. I have to, by the close of December 31st, inshallah, as me and Professor and the many other actors, we must plant 1.5. Our neighbors, Ethiopia, have done 32.1 billion. And we must clap for them. Prime Minister Abiy has done a good work. President William Ruto is the chairman of African heads of state and government on climate change. So he's leading from the front. And the minister was telling me, you need to go to pre-COP 29, not because you are the minister for Environment Kenya, but you are the minister for Environment in charge of Africa, representing the chairman. So I think the private sector plays very well. And we are going to have a scorecard where we're going to have an event where we are going to showcase and give them the presidential award schemes to the best of our private sector players in helping us restore our ecosystem, restore our marine ecosystem. In the context of our national agenda, sustainability is imperative. So the 15 billion growing program aims to increase our forest cover, which is now at 10.3% to 30% by 2032. This is a very ambitious goal. And it's not just about planting trees. It's about restoring the ecosystem. We don't call it planting, we call it growing. You can plant a tree and it dies tomorrow. So we say it's growing, not planting. But it's more about our ecosystem. It's more about mitigating the climate change. And it's more about creating sustainable livelihoods for our communities. However, we recognize this target cannot be achieved by government alone. and the Prime Cabinet Secretary will agree with me, every Cabinet Secretary has a day to plant trees and has a county. From the President to the head of public service. One day, with their staff, they must go to the locations we have allocated for them in our various 47 counties, and they go and plant. I don't know which day I have allocated the Prime Cabinet Secretary, because my biggest worry is he's always moving. So he has a choice to plant maybe the one weekend that is in the country. It's the only one we have given him a leeway. We need the private sector now to step up, not just as partners, but as key drivers of innovation and scalable solution. And in this regard, I want to commend Absa Kenya for its commendable initiative to grow the 1.2 million trees to date, with a goal of reaching 10 million by 2032, subject to review, after consulting the chairman and Abdi. But for now, we are very happy with the 10 million. Collaborative efforts like this between government and the private sector will be instrumental in realizing the ambitious 15 billion trees by 2032. And we are open to further dialogue. We are open to collaboration, and we are open to joint initiatives that can amplify our collective impact on the ground. The rural resource management pillar of your foundation is of a particular interest, and you can count on our support as government to continue to drive this agenda. The potential for Kenya's forestry sector is enormous, and I urge the private sector, especially the banking industry, to consider commercial forestry and agroforestry as a viable and profitable. The forestry sector presents a golden opportunity to our citizens for not only to contribute to environmental conservation, but also drive economic growth and job creation. Let us take inspiration from countries like Finland, where the forestry industry contributes significantly to the economy, making up to 20% of their export revenue. Finland model demonstrates how sustainable forest management, coupled with innovative industrial process, can turn forestry into a key economic pillar. Similarly, Sweden and Brazil boast of their robust forestry industries that are vital for economic development. Here in Kenya, we have the potential to do the same. Commercial forestry, whether for timber production or wood processing or export, can create thousands of jobs for our young people. Banks and institutions such as Absa have a very, very unique and important role to play in promoting these sectors. You can facilitate access to capital, provide financial products tailored to forest-based enterprise. Chebet, I think USALI needs forests and trees. Yeah? Without, where do the bees go to? So there must be trees, and there must be forest. So we must practice, we must improve the practice that improves land productivity and enhance biodiversity and increase our farmers' resilience to climate change. There are immense opportunities for investment in this area, and I will talk about it. But today is not my day. Today is the day for the Cabinet Secretary. Just to add on two very important things. And I think I use this platform to talk to the private sector. We want to clean Nairobi River. And if you read history, the Thames River in London was at one time as large. But today, I'm sure all of you who have been there, is a major even transport hub. The president and the government and myself as the Minister for Environment and Climate Change, we are committed to change Nairobi River. We don't have a river now. We have something else. So we want the private sector to partner with us on the cleanup, on the restoration, and the regeneration of the Nairobi rivers. If you see the rivers within Karura forest, you can go and drink the water as people walk. John Michuki, may his soul rest in peace, and Wangari Maathai did great fundamental work in terms of our environmental conservation and ecosystem. My plea to the banks is the law provides, the Environmental Management Act provides, where corporates who pollute the environment, industries and factories who pollute the environment will be charged, and they will be under obligation, and they will receive restoration order from NEMA to restore that river. So if we find any of your package, for example, along Nairobi River, the owner of that brand is under obligation to clean the river. So we have a big program. We are going to host a meeting with all the private sector players, including Absa. We want you to help us fence our forest. Karura today is great because it is fenced. Karura now is over-congested. We want to offload part of the people coming to Karura to go to City Park, which we have taken over. We are trying to also partly fence and allow the people who live in Karen to go to Ololua and Ngong Forest. We don't want Kenyans to spend a lot of time in the malls. They need fresh air. Maybe one weekend they go to the malls, the other weekend they go to the forest and they walk. I've seen people doing 10. Here in Karura you can do 5 kilometers, you can do 10, you can do 20. Am I right? Yeah, you can do 15. You can come here at 5. Our rangers are everywhere. This morning as I was driving, and I'm sure the Prime Cabinet sectors you are driving, I don't know which gate you have used. We have many gates in Karura. It's very, very secure. Please, Absa, and I know you are partnering with Safaricom, help us restore our ecosystem. And finally, climate change is real. From drought to floods to landslide is a current thing. We must have clear policies of mitigation and adaptation on how to deal with climate change. I'm going to COP29 with the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the President, and we are going to talk to the polluters. Africa contributes less than 4%. The people who pollute the environment are in the global north. The victims are in the global south, Kenya included. So in Baku, in Azerbaijan, in November, the story will be climate financing. Big corporations in the global north must commit finances, carbon credit transfer to the global south for the crimes they're committing to the environment. Thank you very much. It's now my duty and honor to invite my boss, my friend, and colleague in cabinet, the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Please, let's put our hands together to invite Honorable Musali.
the Honorable Adan Duale, my brother and colleague, who is in charge of environment and forestry, Mr. Charles Muchene, chairman of Absa Kenya Group, Mr. Abdi Mohammed, the managing director and CEO of Absa Bank Kenya, stakeholders and partners, my schoolmate Karanja, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I make my remarks, allow me, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Minister, to just veer off slightly before I pronounce myself on the launch. First, Chebet, please save me at least 2 jars of honey. When I finish, I will see you at the table where the honey is. The second one is something that I was reflecting on when you talked a lot about Wangari Maathai. And I want, on behalf of environmentalists, to make a very passionate appeal to the Absa Foundation. And I hope it will sit well with you and with the members here. At Addis Ababa, at the African Union, there are usually some places that are reserved for Africans who have done an outstanding job, and you can then put a life-size bronze statue of that particular individual. Now, I want to let you know that the African Union has reserved space for Wangari Maathai. And that space has been lying bare for a very long time. So my passionate appeal to Absa is this. Since we are on the very soil that she protected vigorously, and your partners, can I appeal to the Absa Foundation to take up this challenge with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we link up with the Addis office. You send your experts there, you take the measurements, and if Absa can finance this bronze statue of Wangari Maathai, which can then be delivered by President William Ruto to Addis and installed at that venue, which is reserved, it would be a great honor. So it's an appeal that I am making. I hope it will find a soft spot in the hearts of Absa, because it will be a very strong statement about Kenya's conviction on matters environment, but also a very strong statement to Africa on matters of conservation and extending to the aspects of climate change. So I leave that with you. Now, on a lighter note, I also want to point out that, but we may not deserve that kind of honor like Wangari Maathai, but you know, even politicians can be they can be maverick ones, but once in a while they make some very interesting contributions. And maybe I'll speak to one who is not here with us, but when I'll mention the name, some of you will remember him. During the days of making sure that there's the building of Gabion's Munyonyoko wa Udongo, there was a very powerful and maverick politician in Naivasha called Karaoke Chotara. You know, sometimes somebody can be recognized in a very different way. Do you know, if you go to the new highway and you drive, you're going to Nakuru and beyond, if there's one thing that this maverick politician did, he may have harassed many people, but on this one, he actually planted a lot of trees. And when you drive on the highway through Naivasha, these were Karaoke Chotara's initiative. So I've given you the example of the Rolls Royce in environmental conservation, and I've also given you the example of the other one. I don't want to name another brand of a car because I might get hit for it. So that, to me, I thought is something I can just share with you this morning, but I hope I've made my point. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to join you this morning for this auspicious occasion for the launch of the Absa Kenya Foundation. You could not have chosen a better venue. Karura Forest is a serene and unique environmental ecosystem that reminds us of our obligations to protect our heritage, a priceless gift from Mother Nature. It also reinforces the compelling need for us to manage our business and our resources sustainably to make the world a better place for the present and future generations. I take this opportunity to commend Absa Bank Kenya for establishing Absa Kenya Foundation. You have embarked on a significant journey to uplift the livelihoods of the community that supports your business. It is also worth recognizing that your entry into this ecosystem of social investment will expand, diversify, and enrich the social capital ecosystem. You are walking on a pathway that other corporate philanthropists, including Safaricom Foundation, whom you have partnered with, M-Pesa Foundation and MasterCard Foundation, have charted through their contribution to the betterment of society. These corporate foundations, collaborating with donors and invested billions of shillings in strategic community empowerment programs that have changed the livelihoods of millions of Kenyans. The government appreciates the focus of your foundation on priority areas of our economic development, including entrepreneurship, education, and skills, resource management, health, and humanitarian relief. These economic and social development pillars will support the bottom-up economic transformation agenda and Kenya Vision 2030. It is gratifying to note that you have made the central pillar of Absa Foundation engagement with the community. You are making a commitment to invest in the future and contribute to Kenya's social and economic transformation. Your support will help address the critical financial and capacity needs of our micro, small, and medium enterprises. These enterprises spread across all sectors of our country and are the bedrock of our economy. They employ over 15 million Kenyans and contribute about 30% of the gross domestic product. The creation of such an ecosystem of support, whether it is through financial, education, mentorship, or access to tailored banking solutions, will help lift entrepreneurs and small businesses out of survival mode and enable them to thrive and scale. Bringing together the private and public sectors can assist in establishing a healthy entrepreneurial environment that supports economic growth, drives innovation, and creates jobs particularly for our youthful population. This is especially critical for our country now as we confront the challenge of creating viable opportunities for our generation Zs or Z, who have a right to be economically empowered, to access sustainable means to a decent livelihood. Furthermore, you have underlined your commitment to support education and skills programs to enhance the employability of our young people. This is particularly important for our country, given that 70% of our population is 35 years of age and below. The other pillar of your social investment program is health, which touches the lives of majority of Kenyans across all counties. This is particularly thoughtful of you, considering the challenges we experience in delivering quality and affordable health care. I urge you to partner with the Ministry of Health, particularly at this time when they are transitioning into a more robust and transformative healthcare financing system for all Kenyans. Your collaboration, especially through strategic health finance models, health technology and innovation, will make an important contribution and impact to Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid, including those from the marginalized communities. I note you have a pillar on humanitarian relief, through which you will provide targeted support to vulnerable and underserved communities, including women, youth, and people living with disabilities. This is perfectly aligned with the government's policy of equity and inclusivity to ensure that every Kenyan, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to contribute and to benefit from our nation's economic growth. Our mantra is that no one should be left behind in our social and economic transformation journey. The last pillar of your engagement is on resource management, which gives you an opportunity to join the global initiative of addressing critical climate change and resilience issues. Your choice of Karura forests for this important event reaffirms your commitment to support Kenya in managing the impact of climate-related shocks, including frequent drought and severe flooding. Your efforts will no doubt make a difference in our agenda for green growth. I presume you will take this opportunity to identify critical areas of collaboration, including supporting the government to scale up the ongoing tree planting agenda. This will enable us to achieve the target of planting 15 billion trees even before 2032. And my colleague has spoken elaborately on this. We must also broaden the horizon by considering new areas where the government and the financial services sector can work together, enhance climate change adaptation and mitigation, including jointly mobilizing capital, driving innovation, and establishing frameworks for promoting sustainable development. The launch of Absa Foundation is also particularly timely. The considerable pressure on government resources resulting from limited tax and external resources available to support competing poverty alleviation and growth challenges, including priority programs in education, health, infrastructure, and climate change-induced vulnerabilities. The government does not have the capacity to singularly address all these competing priorities. This underscores the urgent need for leveraging collaboration and partnerships between the government, private sector, and other stakeholders to scale up support for enterprise development. The convergence of the public and private sectors therefore represents a potent alliance capable of propelling innovation and instigating change. This collaborative approach enables us to harness the respective strengths of each other, with the public sector predominantly focused on championing equity and justice, while the private sector contributes through its finance, agility, and capacity for innovation. It is inspiring to see so many responsible corporate organizations and development institutions gathered here today, further cementing the recognition of the immense power of partnerships in reshaping our society and making it a better place for the present and future generations. We have the perfect opportunity to exchange ideas on how to harness the synergy of diverse perspectives, resources, and expertise that will contribute to meaningful progress. I assure you that the government maintains an open policy and welcomes ideas on how we can jointly scale up interventions to address the challenges facing our communities and promote shared prosperity for all. Let me conclude by once again appreciating the Absa Bank leadership and community for making a significant decision to walk in the footsteps of those who have gone ahead on this incredible journey of investing in the people and communities. I wish to recognize the collaboration and partnerships that you bring to the table, which will help you scale up your strategic interventions across sectors and regions. You are certainly creating a powerful vehicle for sustainable change. A long journey is always challenging when you walk alone. But working together, we have an opportunity to support each other all the way to a sustainable future. To quote a renowned American author, Helen Keller, who spent her life helping others, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. It is now my singular pleasure and honor to declare the Absa Kenya Foundation officially launched. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. And as he declares that moment now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for, the launch of Absa Kenya Foundation.
Absa Kenya Foundation, launching the roots of change. We gather together here not just to launch, to witness, but to craft the stories of empowerment, to plant a seed that holds the promise of futures of communities rooted deep in the soil of visions and of action. We stand tall, each pillar a mighty tree with canopy-wide entrepreneurship, education and skills, natural resource management, health and humanitarian relief. These are our pillars to build a robust future. Entrepreneurship, here lie the roots of resilience. It begins with an idea. A glow in the eye of a woman. a spark in the heart of a young dreamer, a man tormented with a beautiful new idea. They are ready to carve new paths to grow. With hearts as bold as the eternal baobab, business blooms, communities thrive. Education and skills are the winds of change. Trees bring whispers of knowledge. Can you hear them? Teaching the young to stand tall, to adapt, to believe. We work with them to develop the tools, the maps, the wings, and with this, they soar. Learning is a sunlight breaking through the canopy, shining on those brave enough to chase it. Natural resource management. We are the guardians of the land, stewards of this earth, protectors of the forest, the soil, the rivers, the air, the skies. We honor Mother Earth. From the roots of a shrub to the crown of the tallest tree, every leaf matters. Did you know that? We learn from the trees to heal one another. In return, nature asks for our respect. This land is a legacy to preserve. Health and humanitarian relief is our heart of humanity. In times of crisis, we stand together. We are partners holding hands with those in need, because their dark moment in our communities is our dark moment. Like rain after drought, together we nurture life. We rise again. So, today, as we launch this Absa Kenya Foundation, let us not forget that these are seeds we are planting. Seeds of trees that will grow into a forest. Every tree connected, every pillar intertwined. Entrepreneurship feeds innovation. Education and skills shapes the mind. Natural resource management guarantees our future, and in times of need, will always be there providing health and humanitarian relief to our communities. We are a forest, vast and strong, and from this moment, may we grow together, rooted in a common vision to be an active force for good in our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Absa Kenya Foundation, empowering your story.
Absa Kenya Foundation launching here today. It's the start of a new chapter, and it's a continuation of great work that's been done by Absa over 100 years, and that continues from today going forward. And there is much more of that that is coming here. I just want to now take this moment because
Hey everyone, I'm